We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. City of Covington Council meeting dated February 1st, 2022. We appreciate everybody here tonight. If you would silence your phones or turn them off, would be appreciated for any interruptions. Roll call, please.
Councilman Lewis.
Present.
Councilman Botsford.
Here.
Councilman Roberts.
Here.
Councilwoman Ludwig.
Here.
Councilman Verrett.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman Rowling.
Here. If everybody would stand for a moment of silence, please. And I would like to acknowledge and remember Meredith Berry Jr. that passed on January 28th. He was the founder of the Covington Concert Band. Our prayers are with him and his family. Mr. Rodriguez, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. First appearers for tonight, Mayor Mark Johnson and Allison Schindling from the DOTD Counseling Services.
Yeah, we didn't have somebody else at the beginning before then?
I think Callie was going to be part of this, but was changed, correct?
Yeah, yeah, I thought there was somebody else on the agenda. Okay, all right,
Okay, that wasn't at the final agenda.
all right.
Okay,
All right, so what we have on the agenda is a discussion about the roundabout that is going to be on Jefferson and 21. Seems to be a lot of questions that I get about the status of the roundabout. I thought it'd be good to have on tonight's agenda so that the council could get an idea of where we are. And, Mr. Mayor?
Yep. Yes, we often get a lot of questions. A couple of my e-blasts over the past year have detailed where we're at. Oftentimes, I'm fond of saying that we're moving at the speed of government. I think on the roundabout, we're moving at the speed of DOTD government, which is about half the speed of normal government. The roundabout was originally requested by the previous administration to be put there at Jefferson and 21st Avenue, aka Louisiana Highway State 21. Important to note that South Tyler Street, West 21st, East 21st, and Boston Street are a state highway. I think most of us know that, as well as Business 190, which goes from Covington High School to the CVS, as well as Ronald Reagan Highway, which is a Highway 190 bypass, and Collins Boulevard. With that in mind, I recognized early on, knowing the difficulty of communicating back and forth with DOTD and all the numerous people that are in those offices, the difference between Region District number 62 headquarters is really, really difficult for anyone to navigate those waters. So I felt it was important that we bring somebody in that was familiar with DOTD. And early in my administration, we did that, and we hired a consultant, Ms. Allison Schilling, who's going to speak in just a moment. Ms. Schilling is the former director of District 62. So, Councilman Rowling, I want to make sure that everyone understands Ms. Schilling is not an employee of DOTD. She's a retired employee of DOTD. She understands how it works. She knows who the players are, in so much as if you have a particular question. She's been extremely helpful to the administration during these past couple of years. Any resident that pings me on something on a state highway, I'm able to go to her, and she's able to go directly to the person who's responsible for that. So it's important for us to understand that the intersection is the jurisdiction of Louisiana State Department of Transportation, not the jurisdiction of the City of Covington. And that it's also important to understand that Ms. Schilling is our consultant, our go-between to DOTD, not an employee of DOTD, so nothing she says tonight, she can't affect policy, I guess is what I'm saying. Did I do that right? Well, come on up.
We appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
And while she's coming up, I just wanted to say that I reached out to DOTD 6 times, asking for someone from DOTD to be here. I joked with somebody earlier that there's a reason why on April 15th there's a line of cars going through the post office at midnight, because there's a deadline. And amazing and miraculously, I got a call right before the council meeting. Don't you have a council meeting today? Yeah, that's why I tried to reach you for 2 weeks. And I think Councilman Smith also reached out to elected officials and didn't get a response. Part of what I'm trying to get tonight is a status of where we are on this project and how the city feels about the project as it's written.
Okay, well, I can give you, if that's what you need. I had prepared a little brief history, but if you don't really need.
No, I want as much as you're willing to give.
Okay. Well, several years ago, the department met with Mayor Cooper. It was Mayor Cooper, and at his request, we added a project to the Highway Priority Program to put a roundabout at the intersection of Jefferson and 190. The purpose of the project was to improve traffic flow and reduce congestion through this intersection. As the design progressed, they originally started looking at a traditional circular roundabout, and those are normally designed for large commercial vehicles. And as they started looking at it, they found that they either needed to take the old gas station on the northwest quadrant of the intersection or the bank. And if they bought the bank, they would have had to relocate the bank also. And so as they looked at it, they determined that the cost of the right-of-way made the project cost prohibitive. It was more than the cost of construction of the project. So after I retired, they went back and they reevaluated the project. Just for your information, they actually they got new traffic data and they reanalyzed the traffic. So I retired in 2017, so the new traffic data came around after that time. So they reanalyzed it, and because all of the legs coming into this intersection have a very low speed, and because Boston Street is designated as a non-truck route, they determined, and they got headquarters approval, actually headquarters was the one I think that came up with the idea, to do what they call a mini roundabout, or a form of a mini roundabout. It's more of an oval-shaped roundabout that better fits that intersection so that they didn't have to buy all the right-of-way. And so that's where the little oval about came from. So, and one thing, and I want to make sure y'all understand this because I don't know if anybody has explained it, but with the mini roundabout, the circle in the middle, the central part of this roundabout will be paved so that if a large vehicle does need to go through there, they can just drive over it. So it's really designed to direct the cars around, but if a large vehicle or a bus or whatever needs to go, they can traverse across that. So it won't be landscaped, it'll be concrete. So the current status of the project, the final plans are 98% complete, and right-of-way appraisals and acquisitions are ongoing right now. DOTD anticipates the right-of-way acquisitions should be complete in March, is what they told me, and the project would be let to construction in the spring or summer of this year. So sometime around between April and June, somewhere in that time frame. They said the roundabout construction will take about after the roundabout is let to construction, it'll take about 60 or 90 days before the construction starts. That's when they sign contracts and get the contractor, get all the contracts executed. And then from there, it'll take about 9 to 12 months to complete. So, and then I got a little bit of information just for your information on the maintenance of traffic during the construction. They will not be allowed to do lane closures during the daytime. They will be allowed nightly lane closures from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. every night. I mean, not that they're going to do it every night, but every night of the week they will be allowed. They can still do construction during the day, but they won't be able to close lanes. So that's what I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Did
Yes,
I
sir.
hear you say correctly that Boston Street is considered a non-truck route?
Yes, sir.
Do the trucks know that?
I don't think so. And the reason being, there were a number of reasons, because of the narrow width of it. I mean, DOTD typically does not designate state routes as non-truck routes, but because of the narrow width of it going through downtown, that was one reason. And also because there was 190 available as a truck route, I think is the reason that it was designated that.
Does the city,
Yes.
and I guess Callie's back here too, you've seen the plans, the 98% complete plans versus the original plans?
Yes, sir.
right? The original plans, as I saw it, looked like a roundabout.
I have a picture if you,
And this, what I presented to the council, call it an oblongabout or a peanut shape or whatever. A bean, yeah. Have we seen the traffic studies that went into the idea that this is going to alleviate traffic?
I have not seen the studies, but I have talked with the traffic engineer in the district about it, and they had to, like I said, update the traffic study when they went from the circular to the oval shaped, and they studied it to make sure that it would alleviate the traffic, and they looked at it to determine, that there were a minimal amount of trucks coming through there. I mean, there still are, there are, but it was studied to determine, to show that it would alleviate some of the traffic concerns. Most roundabouts, the one in Abita Springs, it was, the traffic there used to back up miles, and it alleviated it to a couple cars, waiting to get into the roundabout. When you were coming from the interstate on 59, coming into town, it was at least a mile back up, and it alleviated that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that the city feels good about, the city council is kept abreast of, this is going to be one of the largest projects that I can recall changing the face of how it looks. It's probably a $3 million project.
No, it's not that much.
Well,
It's a little over $1 million, I believe. Well, when you add in the right-of-way and everything else,
That's where
yeah.
I'm going.
Yes, sir.
When you start adding everything that the city has put into it, that they're planning to put into it, from what I can tell, it's about a $3 million investment. I just want to make sure it's right. When it goes to an oblong, and I know nobody wants to have this conversation, but I get it all the time. People are excited about, oh, city's getting their first roundabout. Look at us. And then they say, thank God they're taking jack and gnats. They ain't taking jack and gnats, are they?
No.
So what's the story on that? Do we know why that's not being addressed, why it shifted more towards the other three property owners?
The original drawing was on top of, it was up in that corner where they would have had to buy that. And like I said, they looked at moving it in the other direction, and then they would have had to buy the bank. And that's when they determined, they did some high-level appraisals. I don't think they really got down to understand exactly what the cost would be, but they did some high-level appraisals and realized that it was going to cost much more than the cost of construction to purchase either one of them, and that's when they kind of backed up and decided. And like I said, it was after I retired, but when they backed up and decided to look at other
And
alternatives.
that's good insight. That's kind of what I'm looking for, to understand it, because once it's there, it's kind of a permanent deal to a large extent. I guess my bigger issue why I wanted it is this council has asked for a status on it, and now we're 98% complete. That's a little concerning that all these questions are being answered, but that's fine. They had a public meeting, and the public meeting was a roundabout. And now we have no public meeting, no public input, and it's 98% complete. And nobody can return a phone call to have a public meeting. To me, I kind of do the common sense all the time.
I do have a
That's
question
problem I
that
have.
might answer this. It might make it a little bit easier for us to understand. How often do you get updates on this project? Is it you, or is it the administration that gets these updates? And I think that's what it comes down to. Are we getting a monthly update? Are we getting a quarterly? Or, I'm just wondering.
I'm not getting updates. I can ask for them to
Right.
give me updates.
And I think that might be the thing now.
Well, mine is on DOTD.
Yeah.
DOTD
No, I'm talking
has a
about from
responsibility
DOTD. That's
to
what I'm
the-
talking about.
This is targeted more of, I want this council to know, because I get questions about the roundabout, and I can't answer it. To me, that's not excusable. Now, I'm not blaming anybody.
I don't think anything's changed in the past year.
Well,
I mean, if you go back and look at my e-blast from a year and a half ago, it's pretty much the same thing that I communicated to the public, and I'm not familiar with hardly anything that's changed.
well then, we're on.
Even
pages
in that e-blast, it was an oblong about.
This is where it was. The first conceptual drawing is a roundabout. It's a roundabout.
But that was years ago.
I understand.
Yeah,
I
okay.
understand. But I'm talking about DOTD. It's their project. People in this city have questions about the roundabout. With all due respect, I think, yes, that's been, hey, we're going to get a roundabout. When are we going to get a roundabout? I remember during the budget meetings, we had to appropriate special money to be prepared for it. When is it going to happen? When it happens. We're at 98% completion, and I don't have any idea. I'm not an engineer. I would assume that they did a traffic study. I would assume that they're doing the right thing. I would assume all of those things. But when we assume, it begins to be a different problem. I think there should have been a public meeting on it, and I certainly think somebody from DOTD should be here to discuss their project.
Allison can arrange for the people from DOTD to meet with the council committee.
I think that's a good idea.
If I could ask, Ms. Schilling, as a liaison for the city.
Yes, sir.
Who's your contacts over there? When you call over there, do they return your calls?
They do.
Could you share those contacts with us? Serious. I've called over there in Hammond 10 times in the last month, left voice messages, never got one return call, okay? I'm assuming you've got somebody you can call, but tonight's the first time I'm meeting you.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, right? So I didn't even know, I didn't realize we had you at our disposal, okay? Because I'd have been bugging you to call them, all right? Why don't you share, who would you call, especially on this project?
It depends on the nature of the problem, that I'm trying to address. Sometimes I'll call the district administrator that took my place. His name is Larry Sharp. I can give you his phone number if you want. I don't know if I can remember all of them. His office, well, the number there, well, let me give.
Tell you what, why don't you do this? You get an email or a contact number, I can call you or email you, and we can share these numbers?
That's,
That way we don't,
Give it to Joanne and she can share it.
yeah, or send it to Joanne.
That's what I would.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So I also have contacted DOTD. I didn't know that there were any questions. If you would like me to reach out to them, I'm happy to do so.
there's a
You
lot of
didn't?
times Aaron and
Okay.
I are tag teaming with them.
I've worked with them for a long time, and I know them very well. So if anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to reach out. I didn't know that you had any.
Well, just to be clear where I'm coming from, because maybe it's not, is this is a big project. In my opinion, it's a big project. It impacts several businesses around there. People always want to know about the roundabout, which is why it's in the mayor's newsletter. And I can't answer as a city councilman about the roundabout. I think that's a problem. Now, if we want to figure out where the problem is, we can do that. But DOTD, I have some questions about it. Is it a good project? I would assume so. Does it need to be done? I would assume so. But how come, simple answers to simple questions are always the easier route. To return a phone call is better than not returning a phone call, right? And so on the roundabout, I simply wanted an update, and it's 98% complete, going to bid next month. Well, that's an update. Yeah, that's a pretty good update. But I know the conceptual project on this was a roundabout. And part of my frustration level is that today I finally get a return call, and I'll share this with the public. It is the only roundabout in the entire state of Louisiana that won't be a roundabout.
It's not round.
Okay? So maybe, just maybe, somebody should be asking some questions about the roundabout. And I would prefer this DOTD tell us, this is the traffic study, this is what we decided, this is what we should do.
And
It is in the city limits, last time I
if I
checked.
could add to that, and the administration could probably help with this answer. We moved city utilities, and that was at our expense, correct? Okay. Was that prior to the DOTD changing their plan?
No.
That was after they changed the plans, then we moved utilities? Good. That was a concern I had just now.
So I would like to just say one thing. Councilman Barrett, I think you have a very valid point. I really do. I mean, if DOTD went to a public meeting with a roundabout and then changed it without notifying the public, I think you have a very,
And that's my
very
point in
valid
response to the mayor's point of that this has been changed for a while. There's a public meeting, it's called a public meeting for a reason. It's a public meeting for a roundabout. Now it's not a roundabout, and we're 98% complete, and this is going in. I have no idea as an elected official, has the traffic study been done? Is it good? Is it bad? Are they just doing it because it's the easy way? Are they doing it not taking Jack and Nats because it's a vacant gas station, it's an eyesore to this city because it's difficult? Those are questions that I think should be asked.
I can do that with Larry, with Larry Sharp. I mean, I would start with Larry Sharp, any of y'all, because he is the administrator over that district, and he can hear your concerns and then disperse it to whoever, on his staff can. And I go directly to him because I know him, I worked with him, but I would start with, as a councilman, I would start with Larry Sharp and let him direct it to where it needs to go. And as far as the traffic reports, I think anybody can file a public information request with DOTD to get the traffic report. It would be better coming from, an elected official than the public. I'm not sure, I don't know if they would share it or not with the public, but as an elected official, I think you can.
I would sincerely hope
definitely.
that they would want to explain their wonderful project, and then I could be in support of the project.
Right.
I'm in support of the roundabout because people have talked about it for years, talking about how much it would help. I just know the public meeting and this one aren't the same.
Yeah, my question is that, well, I reached out to Mark Wright, and actually he just responded today, because I assume, I may be incorrect, that he's in charge of of the state rep for DOTD for our area. Do you know if that's true?
What was his name again?
Mark Wright,
Mark?
state
No,
rep.
State
Yes.
Representative Mark, okay.
Okay, so he gave me some stats. It was going to be a little over $1 million. They're going to let it out April 13th, begin by July of '22, and then they should finish spring of 2023. My question is that, and this is maybe a little bit more off of this one, and it's more for Cali too, is that, do you review the changes from DOTD?
So the only time DOTD sends us the changes is if they're looking for a letter confirming that their changes won't conflict with our existing utilities as we've relocated them. So the last update I got for the 98%, I believe, was maybe 90% around the same time we were finishing up the utility relocates, if memory serves. But they're not regular updates. We don't get the updates like, here's what's going on with it this month or this quarter. It's just as they relocate things that could impact our utilities is when they send updates to all the utility owners for us to verify that it's not going to negatively impact us.
So you don't really see like their scope of work and what they're changing, like, if things are going to change or shift or move, they're going to say, hey,
We do see that in the plans, but the major focus and the major things that we have say over is if it's going to require us to relocate our utilities again.
okay.
Now, with that being said, there haven't been any significant changes aside from addressing some drainage concerns that we brought to them in a particularly long while. It seems like their major focus right now is focusing on confirming the required right-of-ways.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the right reason for asking those questions is that Mayor Mark and I and Chris Davis have looked at like drainage issues and problems that are existing on Collins Boulevard, and we get to run around from DOTD. It's just like, well, it's when the roundabouts are coming in, we're going to change this, and we're just kind of going, well, we hope that happens.
You said that's
know.
on Collins?
Collins
or-
Boulevard, yes.
Okay.
So-
If you'd like, I'd like to get with you on that to
Okay. Yeah, because there's some
discuss those
serious
concerns.
issues where we'd actually have to pump the water up in the air to get it to go into the culvert, so. Thank you.
Lewis, you have something?
Yeah, I just have one simple question. I guess from the beginning of this process till now, has there been any public meetings scheduled?
There was one, the initial one when they showed the circular roundabout.
Just the original?
Yes, sir.
And that was over a year ago?
I don't know the exact date of it. I can find that. It was
About 3 years
probably
ago.
a while back, because they started looking at the oval shape after I retired in 2017. So it was circular till, before then, and so that's probably when the public meeting, it was probably prior to 2017.
So do we not have like any process of maybe having more public meetings involved? The public, or even the council, because it seemed like we're just as much in the.
One thing I had and I made a note of is maybe at this point, and I think Councilman Barrett bringing this up to begin with is great because I think we all need to be informed, is maybe just the administration, yourself, being a little bit more proactive on just getting us a status. Because what's going to happen is when that construction starts, the calls are going to start coming in just wanting to know what is happening. So I know we all know what the time frame looks like and things like that now a little bit better. But, you know, the person that lives on 15th or, you know, right off of Boston is going to want to know what's going on with this. So I think if there's a way we could do some type of schedule of a proactive update, if it's every 30 days, at once a month, every 2 weeks, or whatever, at least we educated to talk to the constituents. So at that point, so whatever, however that can be worked out through the administration to kind of get us that information, so we can share the good news and what's really realistic. And I think that's what the public's going to want to know. Because I'm sure after the first 30 days, it's going to be exciting to see construction happening, but most people probably don't know it might last 9 months either. So that's the type of things I think would be important. I think it answers Councilman Lewis's question. You have something, Rick?
This is for our city engineer again, Ms. Baker. Thanks for confirming the fact that I'm going deaf. My wife's been telling me that for a long time now, and I've been telling her she doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm asking them, do y'all hear her? They go, oh, yeah, fine. I'm like, anyhow, getting to my question. After, you've studied this, correct? The
Correct.
new, do you see any adverse issues that have come up with the new plan, the oval type plan
So-
versus the roundabout plan that the
The-
public and the council back then had a chance to really study and ask questions? We did not have that opportunity to do that when they made the change, okay? But your expertise, can you see any adverse issues arising specifically with
With the fact that it's oblong
the
instead of
neighbors
round.
right there?
Okay. There has been some concern brought up about the fact that the vicinity of Equestria's driveways to the roundabout, and DOTD has addressed those concerns regarding the use of the driveways and how exactly the routing there would work, and that they would still maintain, was it full access or primary access of the driveways? I would think, full access? Yeah, full access to their driveways on Boston Street. And as far as it being oblong versus round, I haven't seen the traffic study specifically, but I can request those and review them. However, DOTD is the expert in this case, and considering that they have studied, done a traffic study in regards to this, even though it's the first one in the state, it's not something that hasn't been done before. It's something that is used in other areas where right-of-ways are tight. It's not a completely new design, it is a proven design.
For this state?
Not necessarily, not for the state, this is the first one in the state, as you said. However, I highly doubt that DOTD is pioneering this shape. I highly doubt that Louisiana DOTD is pioneering this shape.
Assuming, and that's why I wanted this before the council. I think back to some of the point is that we don't know. We don't know. This should be so extremely simple. DOTD would come and say, here's traffic study, this is the redesign, this is why it's going to work, and we all clap, right?
Yeah.
Instead, we're 98% at completion, it's going to bid next month, and people have concerns about it and don't even know what it is.
It's projected to go to bid next month, however, with the concerns, DOTD is very open to hearing the public's concerns, and I'm fully confident that if we were to ask them to show us the proof of their designs, that they would be able to present us with,
Is that something the
formal
city would
idea.
be willing to do at this point, since you have the
Yes.
contacts with DOTD and say, look,
Absolutely.
you can blame it on Councilman Barrett and the rest of the council. You could say, look, they have questions. That's what we were elected to do. So let's ask them to hold the wedding, as I like to say, and let's have a meeting and let's talk about it.
Absolutely, and we definitely prefer to, as you were saying, get everyone on the same page and on board with this prior to it going out to bid and breaking ground, and
Look, I want to be excited about it.
absolutely.
It's
You want to be
wonderful that we would be
informed,
the first to have something
you want to be
on a-
informed,
on
and
a
you want to feel
positive,
confident that what's
you
going
know.
on
We're number one in a lot of
is going
bad
to be good.
things. We don't want this to be one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're good. I appreciate it. And I guess on the same note, I want to thank you very much. We appreciate both of you being here today.
And
And
thank you to the
administration,
city to take the questions.
We appreciate it. On the same note, Mr. Adam Acoustapace is here. Same, you want to come up, Adam, if you don't mind? If you want to add something or have anything?
Yeah, so anyway, because I'm sorry, do I need to say anything? Adam Quistpace. I was under the impression that the project may not happen. We own the bank building that's in the next to it. We were always concerned about how our access would be with the traffic moving, and so we wanted to know what was going on. So we thought the project was kind of behind. So I've got the renderings, well, you think you guys have them, but what the original was and then what was changed to. So, we have the bank, we know that they're going to take a part of the property, but our biggest concern was how that roundabout will impact not only us. We're going to figure out a way to kind of handle DOTD. They're taking away our access to the bank property. They're going to leave us in the exit. So they don't consider that, and so in the appraisal, I'm not sure what they said they're not doing it this way is because of the financial constraints. And so my question to them was, well, why don't we just do it? If we're going to do it, we might as well do it right. This is our city. And they basically said we're not doing it the way that we had projected to. I mean, they've been talking about this thing for 11 years, 12 years. We're not doing it this way because of the financing. And so my question is if we're going to make a permanent change in the city of Covington, that we want to make sure that whatever occurs is in the best interest of everybody. If we have to figure out ways to negotiate with DOTD, that is what it is, and that's our job. But I asked questions like I said, well, where's this traffic study? How are 18-wheelers going to get out of here? And then they said, oh, well, they don't have 18-wheelers in here. This is a new 18-wheeler. I was like, well, how do you think we get deliveries, tractor trailers? And so they really didn't have an answer. I asked about the traffic study. They said I'd have to go do a public information request to gain that. But I just wanted some basic information like, does this work? Have they seen one in the state of Louisiana before? The answer to that is no. They've never seen that before. And so I was concerned that when I reached out, I wanted to make sure I was concerned that how much the city knew about this, because this is I've got the rendering I think you guys have seen where the traffic circle is even on the other side by Jack and Nat's, and so I assumed it'd been vacant for so long, and that was one of the reasons why. But in this case, if this is how it's going to be, they'll take property from the bank building and basically take away the access to that property, but it'll take access away from Jack and Nat's too. So I can't imagine anything happening to that property, like at all. But anyway, outside of that, I really didn't have a lot to add because I appreciate you answering those questions. But I met with DOTD twice. I met with them today, and they were very cordial. They tried to give a lot of different ideas, but it's hard to get this questions asked because I don't have the specific data, and they don't share everything. I can share everything with me. But we, we want to make sure that things are done and that things are done correctly in Covington, because I don't want this to be a mess in the front of our business or anybody else's business and tie traffic up and not fix the problem. Because as I invited them over here at 2 p.m. on purpose, because I wanted them to see what traffic actually looked like in downtown Covington. That it's not the Jefferson Avenue was not the big traffic problem. Boston Street is backed all the way up to 21st Avenue and all the way up to Tyler in both directions. So it's that, I guess that's that northwest and to southeast corridor is the one that's backed up. So my question to them was, well, what does this do during peak time? Like, well, this helps in non-peak time. Well, we're worried about what happens between 2 and 4 in the middle of the day, and if the roundabout fills up with cars, how are people going to be able to leave our building, our shopping center, or leave our property and leave? And they said, well, they can go around and be like, well, the schools are letting out at that time. And so those basically turn into one-way streets. So I think obviously I don't have any control over any of this stuff. I feel it's important to me to bring this up to the, I'm sure the city's on top of it, but from our perspective, access is important to us. It's more important than anything. And we're talking about changing something permanently again. And I want to make sure that we're on top of making sure that this is absolutely in the best interest of Covington and that this makes sense for the city of Covington if this is going to fix the problem. If that's the case, we'll kind of take it on the chin and we'll deal with it, and we will be supportive of that if this is something that's going to solve the traffic issue in downtown Covington. If not, essentially we're giving up land for nothing. But anyway, so if you guys want these, I'd be more than welcome to give them to you. Yes, sir.
Well, Adam, who did you meet with today?
I met with the stand-in for the traffic engineer, 2 traffic engineers, the project manager, and I can't remember what they're called. I guess they're the negotiator.
Did they come here
they
to
did.
Covington?
Yep.
And met with you?
Yes.
Maybe that's why they hadn't returned. You're doing better than we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we met with them and we wanted to schedule a meeting with them. And like I said, they were very professional. They answered the questions that I had, but it's not. We're so far along in the process. There's no negotiating. There's no negotiating access. Now it's just it's not about access. It's about impact. But so if it is about price, and they're worried about the project not working because of money, I will tell you that they're not giving anybody any money for this project. At least not the residents of Covington.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, man, thank you.
Anything else? We appreciate it very much.
Keep you
And
updated if we get anywhere.
again, everybody that's involved in this project on the city end of things, as far as we know what's going on, are here. So I think everybody here had a moment to talk about it, and I know the administration will keep us informed, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Consent calendar. Regular meeting minutes, November 2nd, 2021. Sorry, I have the wrong one. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. I will start over. Consent calendar, regular meeting minutes, December 9th, 2021. Introduction of item number 2022-0201, an ordinance of the City of Covington amending the Covington Code of Ordinances, Chapter 90, taxation to add Article 5, St. Tammany Parish Sales and Use Tax, Uniform Collection Procedures. Councilman, I'm sorry, I need a motion to accept, please?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes.
Councilman Botsford.
Yes.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilman Verret.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Rowling.
Yes, thank you. Next, new business, items to be voted on. Resolution number 2022-01, Councilman Smith.
There's been some changes made to this. We're going to withdraw this, be on the request of the appointee that we had planned to appoint. After reconsidering, he has decided this is something he's not wanting to pursue.
Thank you. Appreciate it, sir. Okay, moving on. Items for discussion. We have none tonight other than our comments and reports. So we're going to move right on to District A. Councilman Lewis.
All righty. I just want to thank everybody that was involved in our recent MLK program. Despite COVID that attacked much of our program, it was still successful. Thank you to the Covington Police Department, council that participated, and we had a chance to present Miss Amy Fauché and Nikita Babbitt with a plaque for their years of service. So thank you guys. I think that's about it until next meeting. They shocked.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Moving on to District B, Councilman Boxman.
All right, just an update on the food banking. Here they are still at about 114 daily boxes on that. January and February is always a slow month for the food bank, and everybody's kind of starting off the new year and stuff like that. So, please remind everybody to make donations and stuff. If anybody wants to have a food drive, to reach out to Ginger Kunkel. That's GKUNKLE at northshorefoodbank.org. Most needed items are tomato sauce, canned peas, and corn muffins. This next CBA meeting is tomorrow, and it will be held at the resale shop. So businesses that are interested in attending, please do so. And join the CBA. It's a great organization for networking in the city. They have yoga in the warehouse Thursday, March 10th. It's back. So in case, Mayor Mark, you're interested in that one, it's over there. All right, so it's a complimentary class. However, they would appreciate any type of donations for the food bank for that. They're going to have their annual North Shore Food Bank Golf Tournament. That's for you, Rick Smith. Tuesday, May 10th at Beauchene Country Club. Individual and team golfer registration is available. Corporate sponsorship is also available. And for more information, go to the website northshorefoodbank.org/golf tournament. And that's it for just, shop local. The farmer's market on Wednesday at the Trailhead, tomorrow depending on the rain, I guess. And then Saturday it should be a little chilly, but it should be good weather, so everybody come on out and support the farmer's market. That's it.
Thank you, sir. And yes, we want to go ahead and support our local businesses for sure. Thanks for mentioning that. Okay, moving on to District C, Councilman Roberts.
Yes, first I want to start with saying I'm sorry that I missed the last two meetings. One we canceled, the other was COVID. I was a statistic for a little while, which is not pretty, but I am glad to be back in the seat. So in case you see me missing, apologize. My condolences to the Meredith family. I did not know that. I hate to say that, but I didn't. So yeah, it was a shock. And then Patricia Drive seems to be completed. I thank everyone for that. I know there's some punch list items that are being taken care of. 15th Street Walkway is coming into play and looking good. So everything in District C is so far so good. So I appreciate everyone for what they're doing. Thank you for controlling that Kehoe 500 for me. It's been wonderful. So good job.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, District D, Councilwoman Ludwig.
While we're on the yoga kick, the library in my district also does a lot of online yoga, which is good for maybe some people who can't leave the house in the elderly community or otherwise. Events-wise, we have Olympia coming up, not this weekend, but February 19th. And then, of course, I'm sure Larry will talk about Carnival in Covington. And while we're talking about parades, we're getting to finally have, knock on wood, our St. Patrick's Day parade on March 12th. So we had to cancel that 2 days before in 2020. Obviously, 2021, everything was canceled. And so 2022, St. Patrick's Day in Covington, celebrating it on March 12th. Starts at the tap room. Our usual route ends at in front of Joel's Cigar on that entire block by Del Porto on New Hampshire Street. And there's a block party until about 5 p.m. with live music, both Irish and other types of music, as well as Sweet Daddy's Barbecue. We'll have food for sale, and we'll have a beer truck from Budweiser and all the Irish things you can think of. That's it.
Good. Happy to hear things are rolling right along, right? Moving on to District E, Councilman Verret.
First, condolences to the Berry family. Happy to work with them on the Covington concert band. I think that'll go down as something they can be very proud of. And I didn't want that to go not mentioned tonight. I want to plug the Covington Heritage Foundation. It was started back at our, centennial, is that correct? Bicentennial? Well, centennial, bicentennial. Anyway, long story short, we had a very productive meeting today, and we're going to have 6 events. We're going to start with the April 3rd. It's going to be a farm-to-table dinner, and it's going to be a true farm-to-table dinner. And it is going to be, hopefully, weather permitting, at the trailhead. But to join, but to participate, you need to join. And so I'd like everyone to consider joining the Covington Heritage Foundation. Back to what we talked about with the St. Patty's Day, all that stuff got canceled. And we want to be a relevant, culture, character, community. I think it's meaningful. There'll be more details later, but also we're going to have our Antiques and Uniques Festival in conjunction with CHF again. We are going to have our Memorial Day for the veterans at the Bogafly Hall, which thanks to the city for continuing to have that. It's important. July 16th, we'll have Characters of Covington. We don't yet have the characters selected because there's so many characters within Covington. It's just a matter of getting them to participate. And then Whisperings at the night before Halloween. We'll have a cemetery event, which will be as spooky as you might expect. And then the History and Holly Tour, of course. But I want to plug for everyone to join. It's been a while since we've had any membership drive. In fact, our website has Lee Alexis on it asking people to join. So we're going to update the website, but it was a good idea then. It's a good idea now. And so, Peter likes to challenge this council to do things. I challenge y'all to join. All right, so, and then participate. And that's it for tonight for me.
Thank you. What a great organization, too, for the city. No doubt about it. Okay, Councilman at Large Smith, next.
Again, it's already been said, but condolences to Meredith Berry and his family. And you're right, his legacy will include the Covington Concert Band. I think it was his idea that kind of got the thing going. So anyhow, I just want to congratulate the St. John's Fools and Misrules for another successful season kicking off the Mardi Gras time. So I know they put a lot of work into it, and from what I saw, it looked like it was a bunch of fun. That's all I had for tonight.
Sorry about that, sir. Thank you very much. First off, I would like to say the Martin Luther King Parade was a great event. I was at the Furman afterwards for the presentation of that event. Councilman Lewis, you did a really great job with that. The volunteers did a great job with that. The program was really, really nice. So I want to go ahead and thank you for doing that for the city of Covington and the citizens of Covington. Also wanted to talk about Mardi Gras 2022, long overdue. And our executive committee for the Carnival in Covington Parade has been working very, very hard. And we have a board of directors that have been working very, very hard. And the Lions Club Parade will be parading. They're going to go ahead and start off the parade at 10 a.m. And the Carnival in Covington Parade will follow that parade. It's a separate parade, 2 different parades. They want it to be on their own. I'm really happy to announce that this parade is going to be the biggest and best carnival day that the city of Covington and the North Shore has ever experienced. We're going to have 17 or more traditional Mardi Gras floats. I think Olympia right now has 18. So you can kind of picture that coming down the streets of Covington on Mardi Gras Day. We have 3 high school marching bands. We have 12 marching groups. We have 2 horse groups coming in. Our grand marshal is Haley Arsenault. Her family lives in Beauchene. She was the, I guess, astronaut that went into space in September. Inspiration X is that private spacecraft. She will be our grand marshal on that float by herself with some family members. That's going to be like really exciting. We're going to have 4 North Shore medical heroes that we're going to honor. One from St. Tammany Hospital, one from Lakeview, Slidell Memorial, and I'm missing one. Oshner, thank you very much. They all picked one representative through this COVID ordeal for the last 2 years. They were going to be our grand marshal last year when we couldn't have Mardi Gras. That's who we selected. We wanted them to be honored. So they're going to be our honorary grand marshals. They're going to be coming down the streets of Covington, being honored that day on a separate float. So we are just so excited about this. Again, working very hard even right now. You still can get involved within any of our business community. The CBA has stepped up to the plate. The Fools have stepped up to this plate. We have, right now, we have at least 15 businesses in our community that have floats in this parade. This has really turned into a community event. I know I'm talking a little bit longer than normal on this, but we don't have another meeting to talk about it, right? So March 1st is right around the corner. 10 a.m. it starts right there on the normal route. It's just going to be a great day in St. Tammany, actually. And this is being marketed that this is a North Shore Mardi Gras, okay? So we worked very hard at that. And we did name our after parade event. It's Tammany Gras. We have a logo now. So we're gonna get that started. We have Soul Revival that's going to be playing. They're going to rock the day. There's no doubt about it. We're going to have food trucks out there. We're going to be selling beer out there. It's just going to be a great day. So again, this will be the best and biggest Mardi Gras day I think Covington has ever seen. And it's on the map. There's no doubt about it. We're getting good coverage on it. So I invite everybody to come out, everybody in the public coming out and just enjoy this hard work that not only this committee has done for the citizens of Covington, but also our business community has stepped up to the plate. And you're going to see who's on the street in the name of these companies that are out there. And I'm just very proud to just be involved in this. So that being said, the last thing that I have before we turn it over to the mayor is I think all the council received this agreement proposal, this agreement from the Geographic Planning and Geographic Services consultant about a timeline of the redistricting. It's on everybody's mind. The workshops will be offered to the public to attend. We're gonna do a public mailing and everything that is advertising on this. So again, everybody has this. If you have any questions, let us know. We're working really close with him. We are not late on anything, so don't worry about that. We're on a timeline that works. So again, you're going to be hearing more on this, shortly. So that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Mark.
Thank you, Council President Rowling. I guess it was a year ago, August, that the council took the action of doing an increased pay for our police officers, a significant increased pay that I think we all felt was warranted. We had great support in the room that night, and that increase in pay sent a signal to law enforcement throughout St. Tammany and throughout the area that the city of Covington was serious about law enforcement. When other communities were talking about defunding the police, we were upfunding the police. And we did so, and that's had some real benefits for our community. In addition to that, in July, we appointed a new police chief, Chief Mike Farrell, and he has really got the troops active and engaged. And to that end, I know everyone's hungry for information, so I've asked Chief Farrell to join us this evening and give the council an update on what has happened in the past several months.
Good evening, folks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Once again, I can't thank y'all for the opportunity that was given to me, and I think we're definitely making the best of it. We're going in a good direction. Just some things that are going on in the police department right now. We will be kicking off our DARE program this month. Our DARE officer actually completed his certification training today up in North Mississippi. So he will be hitting the ground running next week. He's excited. We also completed the process of mapping out the crime camera locations throughout the city. We were actually in the process of doing so in August. Then this thing, Ida, came and delayed that process and knocked out 2 of our test cameras. So the installation should resume here soon. One of the things we did in the last 6 months, we put together somewhat of a street crimes unit just to kind of get a hold of things, and it really worked out. It's supervised by Sergeant Edward Masters, who is also part of our professional standards group. So it helps out to make sure that the guys are doing the right thing, not only out there just hitting the streets and looking for the criminal element, but also hitting the streets and making contact with the good folks of the community that want us there. So, but during the course of, their proactive patrols, I received text messages from the community thanking us for being there. Also, they sent in tips on our tip app thanking us for being there, which is great. So in the course of the last 6 months, we actually recovered 20 firearms from the street, including the last one was last night. This was off of either convicted felons or persons in possession of narcotics. The two don't mix, and it's a felony charge right away. So it's a really good job. I really have to, my hat's off to the guys that are out there beating the streets doing that, because we're coming across some pretty dangerous folks. And I am happy to say that due to their patrols and hitting the streets, the element's moving out. Our last shooting incident we had, the last several shooting incidents we had in the area, we made an arrest on them, so it's a good thing. Because the folks don't want it there, and they're telling us who's who, and who's causing the problem. So it's really helping out. The number one complaint that we have in the city is traffic issues. Speeding is an issue, as you all know. But in the last 6 months, we actually made over 1,400 traffic stops and wrote over 700 citations. These stops also result in, narcotic arrests, weapon charges, things like that. Just today, our office has made over 35 traffic stops. So, they're out there really doing their job, which is great. But I make sure that they do discretion also. I created a professional standards division, like I said. It just includes a sergeant and a lieutenant that are assigned to the administration division. Their job is to monitor the body cam footage from officers throughout the day. So every day they're reviewing the body cam footage from the day before. We have so many young officers, so they're critiquing these officers to make sure that they're doing the right thing. They're not out there just, being hardcore and whatnot. So we're educating the public more than anything, which is great. So that division on its own has really helped us out as far as making sure that these officers are staying professional and representing the city as they should. As y'all saw, the crime report just recently came out. We have a 31% decrease in crime across the board for the city, which is great. I got my hats off to the folks of the Covington Police Department for working hard and buying into what I'm selling. They're really doing a good job. Not only me. We actually ordered 6 new police cars in April. We have 4 in our possession. We are still waiting for 2 more that are supposed to be here after April. The problem is the microchip. As you know, it's not only the community that's having problems getting cars, but it's us too. So I think that's about it I have for the most part. Like I said, I thank y'all again, and if everybody coming together, and the guys are really doing a good job. And as you can see, Officer Ketty back there, that is going to be our new look for the new year, the dark blue. The light blue, it's hard to keep it clean. So the collars are yellow in the summer, and on the arms are black, and it doesn't look good. And I'm a uniform guru, and I can't stand it. So anyway, we're changing, and that's going to be our new look for the new year. So, anyone have any questions?
Go ahead.
I have a question about, and I'm not sure if, they used to have the bicycles that were being patrolled.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that, y'all still using that?
We are actually, our bikes right now are at the bike shop, getting set up for Mardi Gras.
Okay.
You know, these are pretty expensive police bikes that were just sitting in our locker. And we just brought them back out. Now that we have the manpower to utilize them, we will be doing so. So we will have about 4 or 5 guys on the bikes for the 2 Mardi Gras parades.
Great, we
Yes, sir.
appreciate that. And we
Yeah.
do I know, we might have some other comments, but I know we all appreciate being proactive on this and the officers' hard work, and you obviously explained that, and
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate it very much. Councilman Smith, you have something?
Just want to say that some of the best news I've heard, especially in this meeting tonight. That was terrific.
Yes.
There's things that we can be proud of. I can say how thankful I am that you're our police chief.
Yes, sir.
I know I was kind of a stickler in the very beginning, but I think y'all are doing a fabulous job.
Thank you.
And
What's the
these are
definition of
These are the
stickler?
kind of reports that get me fired up, and it gets our citizens fired up.
It does, yeah.
And we got a great little city,
Yep.
but safety is the most important thing in the whole deal.
100%.
So we appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Councilman Verrett, you have
Yeah,
something real quick?
I just wanted to say, it's disheartening to hear the 20 guns, except for the fact that you got them. So where I'm going with this is back to thank you for being here tonight. This council needs more information, and this is good news. I mean, we're doing a lot of things right in this city, so it's important that we communicate what we do well.
Sure.
Instead of just focus on what maybe
That's
we
right.
need to improve on.
And I'm happy to say I haven't really been sending y'all any updates on major crimes we're working because we haven't had any.
Keep up the good work.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Councilman Boxley, you had something?
Yeah, I want to touch on that. I really do appreciate the updates that you have sent us and stuff, and,
Yes, sir.
you know, your Facebook posts and everything like that. I constantly share them. I was just curious as to how the reserve officer program is going that you kicked off. If you had any
We
success with that.
currently have 10 applicants that we're going to start the interviewing process here probably within the month. So we wanted to see what kind of response we got, and we got a pretty good response. So I think we got right at 10. Well, it might be a little bit less than that, but we will be starting our process of interviewing those folks here soon. They have to go through the same background as a regular officer does.
Right.
So, and I'm happy to say we actually got a few officers that are already post-certified, so that helps out the process. They don't have to they don't have to go through the police academy, nothing like that. They'll be pretty much ready to go if they pass the background. So that's what we are.
Good, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman Ludwig?
No, I just wanted to obviously reiterate what everyone said, but also to thank the use of discretion. I've gotten a few phone calls like, hey, what's going on? We've been getting pulled over. But they said, complimented your guys and girls as being very professional. And,
Good.
well, I was speeding, and they, kind of talked to them. And, so I think discretion is important because I think in past administrations, we can all remember
Sure.
the heavy-handed police work. And
Right.
I know that y'all have moved so much further past that. So there's certainly a fine line between safety and, being a little bit over the top.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I appreciate that, and just for all the awesome job y'all are doing. Thank you.
Thank you much. Sir? Good? Thank you.
Things for us tonight?
No, I just wanted to follow up on what Councilman Ludwig just said. He mentioned that they've done close to or around 1,400 traffic stops, written over 700 citations, but that doesn't mean 700 people were ticketed with violations. Most people who get violations get multiple violations, so the number is much less than 700. It's really awesome to know that if you're speeding in the city of Covington, if your tail light's out, if you run a stop sign, you're going to get pulled over. And our residents need to understand that now because that wasn't always the case. You're going to get pulled over. And you heard Chief Farrell use a term that I've heard him use many times. He wants his officers to educate our drivers that it's time to slow down. It's time to stop at the stop signs. And that's exactly what they're doing. If they pull you over and they find you with a joint, they're probably going to take that joint away from you and take it to the police station. They say they destroy it. We're going to take them at face value. But they're going to send you on your way. If they find you with a little pot for personal use, they're going to ticket you. You're going to get a misdemeanor and a summons. But if they find you with 6 baggies, a scale, and a gun under the seat, your next residence is parish jail. And that's what they're doing. They're using the traffic stops for 2 purposes. One, to educate our residents to slow down. We have more cars on our streets than our streets were ever meant to have. And so we have to slow down in our driving. And also, it is a great way for them to engage with the criminal element. And he alluded to it. The criminal element has shrunk. I watched them move from a street corner to their front yard, to their front porch, and now they ain't there no more. They come into town a little bit, but they're not hanging around the city of Covington anymore, and that was what we wanted to do from the beginning. The other thing that I would like to mention is we have gone from where we were supposed to have 26 patrol officers, we had 13. Not only are we fully staffed, but we have a waiting list. The city of Covington now has a waiting list to join our department. And I can't tell you, I don't think any of us can remember that or would have foreseen how well this has all turned out for us. So I just wanted to reiterate that, and that was it. Thanks.
Mayor. Anything else? Ms. Pavona, anything tonight? Mr. Rogers? Okay. I think it's the candy on in front of everybody, right? Okay. All right. That being said, before we adjourn, just a reminder, the March 2022 City of Covington meeting will be held Tuesday, March 8th at 6 p.m. in these chambers. And again, we wish everybody a happy, safe Mardi Gras, and come out and see the Mardi Gras Day to see in the streets of Covington and also the crew of Olympia. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.